Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to show you how I've made this really cute notelet and envelope holder for a set of gift notelets that I made in a previous video. This holder is really easy to make and it holds 5 envelopes and 5 notelet cards, and these are A6 in size. These are the notelets that I made in my previous video, and I'll link that at the end in case you missed it. But today I'm just going to show you how I've made this beautiful folder to hold the notelets in, and these make a great gift. So first of all, I'm going to bring in my scoreboard. Now I'm using the Vase and Creative Score Easy, but whatever scoreboard you've got is great. And you need a piece of white cardstock that measures 10 3/4 by 7 inches. And we're going to score at 5 inches and 5 3/4 inches. And then we're just going to fold and burnish those score lines. And that forms the outer part of our gift set box. So next I'm going to bring in 2 pieces of navy blue cardstock to decorate the front and the back. These both measure 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 inches. Next you're going to need a piece of white cardstock, and this was a square piece that measured 4.5 inches squared. And I've cut it straight across the diagonal so that you get 2 triangles. And then we're going to score at 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch on both edges of the triangle. Ignore my hand movements here because it's a lot easier if you just butt the edge of the triangle at the top of the scoreboard. It makes it a lot easier to score at these 1/4 inch lines. So once you've scored both of those triangles, you'll then end up with something that looks like this, and you'll have like 4 small squares in the corner. So we're going to trim away 3 of those. You want to leave the square that's nearest to the triangle. So we're just going to cut down those score lines just so that we leave that inner square, and that's going to be a flap that you can then glue the edges of the triangle to stick it all together to make the pockets. So I'm just trimming off a small slither there, and then we're left with something that looks like that. So you want to do that for both pieces. And then we're going to fold and burnish all of those score lines. And then once you've finished those 2 pieces, you can bring in your glue. Now I'd recommend liquid glue for this, just so that you've got a little bit of wiggle room to make sure that you get nice straight edges. And I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to that flap. I'm sorry that I do lose the focus a little bit there. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of glue underneath that other flap so that we can hold that together. And you just want to hold that in place until the glue's stuck. I do use my bone fold just to make sure that I've got a nice, good straight angle. And then you're left with something that looks like this. And just to neaten those up, I'm trimming on a diagonal from each of the corners straight across. And then that just tidies up the pocket. So you can do that on both of those pieces. Then next, I'm going to bring in this die set from Funky Fossil Designs. It's a gorgeous heart honeycomb. And I'm using some scraps from the Be Sweet paper pad. And I'm going to use these to decorate the front of the notelet box. So I've already gone ahead and die cut these out. I've die cut the honeycomb piece from the same navy blue cardstock. And I'm just going to adhere that down with some Ranger Multimedia Matte Glue. This is because if any does seep through, it dries matte, so you won't see it. And I'm just adding a little bit on some of the inner parts of the honeycomb and holding that in place until the glue's dry. So then I'm going to add some glue to the back of it and adhere that down to the front of the panel. And then I've got these 2 gold bees that I'm just going to stick to the front. I have marked my cardstock somehow, so at the end you'll see how I've covered that up with another bee, and you'll see that in the end photos. Next we want to bring in that front white panel, and I'm going to add some red line tape to either side of that white panel, and this is going to hold the ribbon in place. That's going to be the closure for our notelet gift set. So I'm just peeling off the backing tape there, and then once I'm happy, I'm just kind of eyeballing the ribbon to make sure it's central in the middle of the gift set box. And then I'm just going to trim that down to a rough length that I want, because we can trim that down again later on. So once I'm happy that they line up and I've trimmed that down, we can then go ahead and add the navy blue cardstock to the front panel and the back panel. Now I'm using Kalal glue for this because it's a really good construction glue. It's got a really strong hold and it gives the cardstock a bit of extra strength. So I'm just adding that to the backs of both of those panels, making sure that the decorated front panel goes on the right side, the right way up. So once that's stuck down, I'm then going to bring in the washi strips that were part of this Be Sweet collection. Again, you could use pattern cardstock for this, but these washi strips were a great way of decorating the edge of the notelet box without using more pattern paper. And the great thing about washi is that if you haven't stuck it down right the first time, you can easily peel it back off and re-stick it down. So I'm just going to use my scissors to trim off the bottom to make sure that we've got a nice little white border at the top and bottom of that washi tape. And then that's the front decorated. So the next thing we need to do is flip it over and bring in the triangle pieces. Now you can have these whichever way you want. However, putting them on the far left and the far right, the way I'm doing it, means that the notelet cards and envelopes won't fall out when the box has been closed. So I'm just adding glue to the thin strips of both of those triangles and making sure that they're sticking in place nice and level. I'm using my Bowden fold just to get some good contact with the cardstock from the inside. And then once those are stuck on and dry, all that's left to do is add our envelopes and notelets. So here's another set that I made, and I'm just going to pop those in there. And then I've got a perfect little gift to give to somebody. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this video. I really hope it's given you some inspiration of ways you can use up your pattern paper and make a beautiful gift for somebody. I'm going to add some close-up photos at the end of this video so that you can really see how it looks. And thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you watching this video. Please let me know in the comments below if you've enjoyed it. And please don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thank you so much. Take care.